Welcome back. You are watching Worldview. Many thanks for staying with us. And we are on to our discussion of the hour. Joining me in studio, Isabel Oyeyo, a researcher at the Center for African Progress. And we are all about U.S. President Donald Trump. He marks 1 month in office today. What are some of the achievements, if any? What are some of the failures? Thank you very much for coming in, Abel. And I was just going through some of the online papers, especially from the U.S., to try and get a better view of what they think about a 1 month Trump presidency. It doesn't look good.
It does not. It's been a mess. It's been total chaos, and of course that is what was expected. Trump is a nice guy because what you see is what you get.
It's what you get.
Yes, as a candidate he was very messy, talking carelessly, and that is what is delivered to the U.S. as a president 1 month down the line.
What does this mean for the people of the U.S.?
Well, what it's done is to cause anxiety and confusion for the citizens, and of course it sent a bad message to America's allies. Talk about Australia, talk about Mexico, talk about the UK. It's a big mess. So we're likely to see at some point even the markets will begin responding negatively, of course, to his presidency. So it's going to be bad for the economy, it's going to be bad for defense, and it's going to be bad for diplomacy.
Speaking about the economy, yesterday we saw immigrants boycott everything. Yes. Literally, they didn't buy anything, they didn't go to restaurants, they didn't go to work, so as to give the president a feel of what America would be without the immigrants.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That was meant, of course, to send a message that the United States is built on the efforts and the innovation and the creativity of immigrants. And it came at the right time, of course, but I think as we move forward, Trump is likely to be responding to his base, and the base does not like immigrants, so it won't help much.
By base, we mean the white supremacists.
That is it. That is it. You know, once he mistreats immigrants, once he talks about blocking guys from traveling to the U.S., they get excited and they rally behind him. So he's going to be responding more to them because that's what he's been doing 1 month into his presidency. That's what he's doing. And even when he makes mistakes, they're strongly behind him. So that is a very small message, of course, from immigrants, but I don't think it's going to help much because Trump is just Trump. He's just being himself. What he delivered, what he promised to talk about a wall, talk about mistreating other world leaders, talk about, it's what he's delivering to the U.S.
We're getting back to that discussion. Let's get back into the country before we come back to the discussion on Trump, to our continuing series on drought diaries here on KTN News. And we have been focusing on stories of drought across the country. Ahmed Muhyiddin Haji Abdi, a middle-aged pastoralist, has been missing for more than 30 days. He was last seen searching for his lost cattle, pasture and water. Dorcas Wangira tells us the story of a family in anguish and a rising trend of people going much further to survive in the prevailing drought in the county of Garissa.
Abdi Mohammed is exhausted. He has been walking since morning, and at high noon his shadow betrays him. When you run into him, he's ran out of drinking water and has already lost 2 cows. It's been 3 days since he left home.
Sasa naelekea upande wa Tana River. Sijui itachukua muda ngapi. Lakini sasa hii nitalala tu mahali iko na 4 kilomita kutoka hapa. Nilikuwa na ng'ombe 400. Sasa hii imebaki 250. Wengi wamekufa. Bado shida inaendelea.
We have seen many herdsmen move with cattle as they search for greener patches. But this group is different.
Nimebatiza ndugu yangu anaitwa Abdi Muhyiddin Abdi na yeye anaitwa Ahmed Muhyiddin Abdi. Nimehamia kutoka mahali inaitwa Isiolo next to uko Borana, sehemu yeye ndio amehamisha na ujukaji yake up to Ijara, lakini kwa vile yeye nya yake hajatoka na hajaenda popote, labda imekulia na amekufia kwa ajili ya bila maji ndio nadhani, lakini watu wote wako wanatafutia tu, wako na hope ya kupata nadhani.
Tunaenda twende tu tuone kama huwezi jua kama tunaweza kumpata mahali.
Lakini ndio tutawakia kila la heri. Acha sisi tufike hapa, maanake pia turudi. Tumesema pia familia wamebaki, wameachwa huko. Tuongee na familia yake labda tujue. Right, so we've left them. We're just leaving, going further. This is as far as we can go. It's really, really hot. We don't have enough water. But we hope that they do get their brother. So we'll have to head over and look for the family, see how they've been coping. At Ahmed Abdi's homestead, his family is in deep distress. For 26 days, they've sent search parties to look for him. Each day they go further into the Boni forest, but he's nowhere to be seen. Bigale, one of his wives, doesn't have any photograph of him to show us.
It's been a great problem for us without our head of the family. We believe we will find him. We don't know whether he is dead or alive.
It's especially harder for 16-year-old Salo Ahmed Abdi to think that she might not see her father again. His 15-year-old son Abdi, her fate is much stronger.
Kama nikipata mtu ambaye ametoa fee, nitaenda shule. Kama nikikosa nitakatwa.
Na wako na matumaini kwa baba atarudi?
Hapana.
Samahani, mteja wa nambari uliopiga hapatikani kwa sasa.
The news of his disappearance has traveled far and wide, reports made to the police, but nothing forthcoming. It's becoming a trend. February the 13th, a young man from Matarba, Sangailu location got lost while looking for water and pasture for his livestock. Luckily, he was found a day later.
Watu wanaenda hivi 15, tunasema baka ifike saa 10 jioni usirudi. Baka siku ifike siku 30. Baka tufikishe mwezi moja. Sasa unajua hiyo tutawachao bwana ya Mungu.
We can say up to now that we have not lost lives directly, but we are losing livestock. The situation is quite bad. What we have decided is that we are going to upscale water tracking so that we take water to areas that are hardest hit.
Garissa is at crisis level, one step away from the emergency phase of drought.
Unfortunately, the leadership are not saying it loud. So the problem is our people are suffering in silence.
If the rains fail to come between now and April, there will be total chaos. More animals will keep on dying, or they will all die. People will get lost, will go into the bush looking for this, and these villages here will be totally deserted.
The line between one man's personal circumstance and overall events is thin. Garissa is waiting in line for intervention measures behind counties like Marsabit, Baringo, Wajir and Samburu. For one family hope to find their breadwinner wanes, flickers, but they say it won't die till they find closure. Dorcas Swangira, KTN News, Garissa County.
Our continued coverage of the drought diaries ends today, and definitely there's more stories from our features desk after they visited drought-ravaged areas here in the country. But let's get back to that discussion we were having earlier on with Abel here in studio. US President Donald Trump marks a month into presidency now. What are some of the biggest things that he's done in the 1 month as president, either positive or negative?
Okay, so of course, number one, he signed the travel ban, which was overturned by the courts, which was a big, of course...
It's a blow to him.
Yes, to him. And of course, it represents the disorganized person who does not think through things before he executes them. He wants to just pander to his base without any kind of forethought. And then talk about, of course, the carelessness of the people around him, what Flynn did, calling the Russians, talking to them about sanctions. And then, he went ahead to mislead the vice president, which was a big mistake. And he lied. You show me your friends, then I can tell your character. Trump likes lying, so the guy went ahead and lied. So it represents a total kind of chaotic situation you have as a presidency under Trump.
Earlier on, we were speaking about what the immigrants did the other day, shutting down everything, not
deal with
visiting
immigrants,
If they
yes.
keep at it, what would this mean for America?
Now, the U.S. economy is built around the efforts of immigrants. Talk about doctors, talk about nurses, so many of them from Africa, talk about the guys who work in plantations, in farms and all that in California, the guys who harvest grapes and spinach. Those are immigrants from Mexico. If they don't their tools for just a day, the impact is felt all over the U.S. So if they keep on doing it for, let's say, a week, the impact on the economy will be so huge. So I think what Trump needs to do, which of course has to happen under a lot of pressure from Democrats and other social activist groups, is to just go slow on the issue of immigrants. All he has to do is to do what Obama did. You focus on criminals, not genuine immigrants who want to just come in and make a better life for themselves and their families.
Yesterday, in a 76-minute address, Donald Trump launched a scathing attack on the media, saying they have time and again had biased coverage on some of the things that are happening in the U.S., especially his relationship with Russia. And he's accused the media of downplaying his achievements. What could these achievements be that the media is trying so hard to downplay?
I cannot even a single achievement Trump has made, of course, apart from being himself, is himself. That is a big achievement, of course.
For a politician, it is an achievement.
Yeah, he does not sugarcoat or, or cover or pretend to be someone he is not. And it's not new, given the kind of campaign he ran. He likes attacking the media. And so it's nothing new. Of course, there is a problem. The intelligence services talk about the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, all of them have been listening some conversations, which is, of course, routine. And they discovered Trump's supporters and guys working in his campaign were in contact with the Russians, which is, of course, against the law. So he cannot accuse the media of something that has been verified. It doesn't add up. So he lies, and his guys lie.
Still in that very same address yesterday, he said something very important, that he inherited a mess from the Obama government, both internally in the US and abroad. In the same breath, he also said that he's trying to make things right, and he kept mentioning Hillary Clinton's name. Hillary Clinton did this, Hillary Clinton did that, Obama did this, Obama did that. Is he still living in the campaign period? Is it yet to dawn on him that he is actually the president?
I think he was misled into going to deflect attention from him into some people. He's trying to identify people to blame. Now, what he does not understand is Obama is no longer president. And in fact, Americans, according to, of course, a poll by Gallup, most Americans wish Obama could come back as president. That is something he needs to know. Obama is very popular as we speak today. And Clinton is not the president. She was Secretary of State, she was his opponent, and she lost, of course, under very questionable circumstances. So he's not able to understand how he needs to deal with what he has, just because he's not organized. And he was not ready to be president. The Russians made him president. It's a shame. So what he needs to do, of course, is to step back and get organized. He does not have to pander to his base. Neither does he have to listen to the extremist right-wing elements who want to see him, send immigrants away, cancel the green card and all that. He just has to be presidential. He has to be reasonable. He has to be modest in what he wants to do. Otherwise, I think a few months, he can be impeached. If Americans realize he's working with Russians, even Republicans will not work with him. They'll impeach him. So he has to be very, very cautious. Yeah, and of course, I think you saw the guy he went ahead to nominate for as a replacement for...
He turned it down.
He turned it down. So we're likely to see that, because I don't think there are so many guys who are willing to get into an administration that is so messy. Yeah, because I think what we're seeing with Michael Flynn is a tip of the iceberg. There's likely to be a long series of scandals going forward.
Is the White House in chaos currently?
It is. If all the information and all the mess, all the things that are happening there were to come out, I think the world could be shocked. Yeah, because, it began with the phone calls. Made a phone call to the Mexican president and, it was a very bad call. Made a phone call to the Australian Prime Minister. he hung up at some point. He's behaving like a juvenile, as young kid who gets, angry and then throws tantrums. And the kind of guys he's handling like that, traditional, long-running American allies who are needed in tackling some of the most pressing global problems. Yet he goes ahead and does that. So it's likely to be tough if he does not tone down the way he does things as president.
Well, if he does not tone down, what are some of the likely events we will witness?
Now, because of the kind of leaks that have been coming out of the White House, I think they're going to reduce, because I think he's identified, he's realized the problems they cause. And then, of course, I expect him to take a different stance on Russia. And I don't think he knew that the FBI, the CIA, the NSA keep track of the kind of communication campaign officials have with the foreigners. So I think he was shocked that the CIA, the FBI and the CIA were listening in on the conversation between Flynn and the Russian ambassador.
Yeah.
So that is I think it's going to go down, it's going to stop. And he has to reduce the bromance between him and Putin, because Americans don't like that.
Bromance.
Yeah.
Don't miss words, do you?
So he has to reduce that. Americans don't like that.
They don't. They don't.
So I think he has to change. Yes, and then of course he has to realize that Obama did so much. They came in talking about Obamacare, but I think by now they've realized it's not easy to just discard it. No, it's not going to be easy, because I think 20 million Americans will be without insurance cover, health care. So it won't be easy.